brighten up those already bright mornings. Wheeler, Ollie, and Lecter. Mornings at the cabin.
Welcome to Mornings at the Cabin.
Oh, are we on?
I think we're on.
Oh, okay.
I can't hear the intro music for some reason.
I can't hear anything at all.
Oh, there it is. Hey!
We got a newbie in the crew. It's all good. You're learning. It's fine. What's up?
How's it going?
Oh, great. Great start to the morning. I started driving out to Canadian Tire.
Yes.
Not remembering that we were supposed to be here first and then go to Canadian Tire.
Right.
So I made it halfway there and then was like, "Ague!" and turned back around, only to be too late for the intro for this. So here we are.
Here we are. We got Sara Wicks, intern Sara, behind the board today.
Intern extraordinaire, might I add.
Very nice.
Brought her
Nice
own
addition.
drone to Yellowknife. That's pretty badass.
And we got Ollie on Skype. Ollie, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
We can. He is...
I can hear the disappointment in his voice.
But then you always hear that.
So, yeah, I am outside. I'm here at Canadian Tire. I have leafy greens all around me.
But it's not
And
open
I am ready
yet.
to spend a whole morning, brought to you by Canadian Tire, enjoying everything around here.
And we're there, of course, because the garden center opens this weekend. So we're going to join Ollie there after a little bit here.
That's right.
We'll start off with some tunes.
Mornings at the cabin, the podcast.
Ollie, you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
And quite annoyed. You're down at Canadian Tire right now. We're going to be joining you here in a few minutes. What's the scene like down there, Ollie? I mean, it's the opening of the garden center. It's got to be chaotic.
You know what? It is beautiful, nippy, and quiet.
It is nippy.
Right in front of me right now, they've got everything stacked up, ready to go. So
Nice.
This opens tomorrow. Canadian Tire open for gardening season tomorrow.
Whoa, Ollie's melting.
Ollie's melting.
Everything is lined up. There's a few
Always good.
slightly chilly-looking plants outside here right now. They got all the soil, all the compost, and everything stacked up. ready to
Ollie,
go.
I hate to interrupt.
Ready
You,
for people to come down.
you're starting to
swipe
sound like
all
Billie
this
Eilish.
stuff up and make the
It's
most
a poor network
of
connection.
sun and warmth while we've got it.
All right, thank you very much for that, Ollie. You are cutting out a little bit. You started to sound like a robot. There is a poor network connection, Skype is telling me. But so maybe what we'll do is we'll cut it off for now, and then we'll reconnect on Skype, and then we'll head out to see you. Did you get all that? Wonderful.
I got all that.
Okay, perfect. You're still sounding a bit like a robot, so we'll cut it off right now, and then we'll reconnect before we leave, and then we'll see you out there.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great. No, that's awesome.
So Ollie is a pile of wax right now.
A melting candle upon the side of the street. Sarah, anything to add?
No, I'm just happy to be here.
Okay.
Did you get a good orientation of the board?
Yeah.
You know,
Before we went
I
in there?
learned what not to do.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
This is exactly why I came here. This is why I'm here.
All I'm saying was the board was working fine when I was behind it.
I noticed that as well.
Was it?
Yeah, I did notice that.
Was
Yeah,
it?
it seemed to be going
I'm pretty sure
well.
when I got in here, it was just like, is everything going? Are we on right now? I can't hear anything. Are we on? Yes, we are.
So obviously
Apologies.
we'll be heading down to Canadian Tire a little bit later, like you mentioned, to join
Yes.
Ollie there. Their garden center is opening tomorrow. Very exciting.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll hear from Leslie, the Cabin Radio
I'm
horticulturalist. I don't know why I ever try to say that word because it just never ends up well.
She just messaged me. She
Oh.
just woke up.
Okay.
She completely forgot.
That's fine.
And she'll be there in an hour. Or so.
Hey!
Well,
all
she
right.
said she'll try.
Okay.
So.
She'll try to try.
That's right.
Perfect.
She can't promise she'll try. She'll try to try.
Cabin Radio's morning show podcast. All the best chat, none of the embarrassing mistakes.
Mornings at the Cabin, live from the Garden Center at Canadian Tire, is opening today, and we are down here in the parking lot just kind of checking everything out. And they are fully stocked. They got mulch, they got trees, they got flowers, and every kind of manure you can think of. sheep manure, cattle manure. Those are the things I can think of. There's also a 3-in-1 mix. I don't know what that mystery manure is. Ollie, any guesses?
Well, what do we have? We had cow, we had sheep. I feel like those are my main two. Maybe horses. Do horses do that kind of thing? Horses do that kind of thing.
Do horses poop?
I guess. I mean, we got to assume that they do, haven't we? I mean, I haven't seen one, but you never know.
There was a book I read when I was a young pup that suggested that everyone poops. Lecter, are you a gardener? I mean, you don't have a lot of space for gardening, but gardening is absolutely a very popular thing to do for now that spring has kind of sprung. Do you fancy yourself a green thumbery?
I wish I did. I'm really not. I've never tried to grow a plant myself, but maybe this is the year.
This could be the year for you, Lecter, to build yourself up a green thumb and maybe a little garden as well.
I have noticed that since a small variety of green plants in mason jars made their way into my apartment, it has made a ton of difference. It's actually kind of like a home now, whereas previously it may as well have been a hotel room for all that I did to personalize that place. Now there's some paintings up. Now there's a whole bunch of little house plants all around, and that has made a huge difference. And they're still alive. 5 months in, which is by my standards 5 months past my previous best.
Absolutely. I am terrible with plants in my house. This is actually a really good opportunity to learn a little bit about it. I don't know what mulch is, but we've got several types. Sierra Red, Classic Black. We've got bark nuggets.
You strike me as someone who would have a really nice green thumb. I think I just like the image of Jesse Wheeler just going about his day and really bringing calm into his life by taking care of plants and just being, happy.
It's like you don't know me at all. I've actually always wanted to have a bit of a green thumb and actually get into the dirt, because I do love playing in dirt and smearing it all over myself. And I feel like that's part of gardening. I just never kind of got a knack for it. I have some succulents in our house, and they are still alive because they require little to no upkeep whatsoever. But if you are a green thumb, or you're looking to maybe start a garden or replenish your garden now that spring is here, come on down to Canadian Tire. They're opening up at 8:30, and it's the opening of the garden center. And like we said, they are fully stocked, including trees, which tell you things on their label. They say, I provide shade. And some are saying that they throw shade. I stole that from Scott. He won't have a chance to say it now. Mornings at the Cabin, live from Canadian Tire this morning. Come down, check us out, maybe say hi. Leslie Creed, if you're out there, get your butt down here and tell us what's going on, because none of us have any gardening experience whatsoever.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast. Hey, it was early. What do you want from us?
Mornings at the Cabin, live from Canadian Tire on Old Airport Road. We are sitting here waiting with bated breath for an employee to come by and tell us what mulch is. Although, you know what? Actually, Sara, our intern Sara, intern extraordinaire Sara, once again, has told us what mulch is. Mulch is the stuff you throw on top of the other stuff to make that stuff look not so much like the stuff it is, which is usually soil and manure. So it's kind of to spruce the place up. So that's what mulch is. Still don't know what bark nuggets are, but here we are at the opening of the garden center. Spring is hanging around in the air somewhere.
And here we are in the entire radio station. We have one human being who has any experience of working as an employee at Canadian Tire, and that's Sara. And we've left her in the studio and sent the people who know the least about gardening. Now, I used to garden a little bit, just a tiny bit. I have kept things in soil alive before, and I'm kind of into it for this summer. I was saying before, I am ready to give it a go. You know what? We really need more plants at Cabin Radio.
Cannabis plants.
I knew you'd say that immediately.
Yeah.
And I thought you'd already worked on squirreling those away inside the little electronics room that we have, where it's nice and warm and a little moist, worryingly. But the rest of the office, we could. What do you think, Lecter? We could use sprucing up a little.
Well, we tried that. We had a plant that supposedly couldn't die, and then it did, and Leslie was horrified, as you might recall.
But it's not so much that it died; it just never grew. It just sort of, it was about what, half an inch tall, and it stayed there resolutely for an entire summer.
That's right.
I believe her exact words were, This is plant murder.
Well, okay. So all we're saying is, but you have to learn. There have to be second chances. There has to be a learning curve. It's okay. I mean, I was about to say it's okay to kill one plant. What's the level? What's the cutoff point on the number of plants you're allowed to try with before people carry you away from the plants and say, you know what, plastic for you?
Well, I believe in second chances.
Yeah.
So why not? Yeah.
The plants don't. They're coming back for us. If we kill all these plants, I mean, that's what's going to happen. I mean, plants are conscious beings, and if you talk to them, they will survive. This is what I've learned from the internet. So, I've never been able to keep a plant alive either. And again, Sara, why aren't you here to tell us all about this stuff? Because you have some experience at a Canadian Tire, and I mean, we're not even actually inside the gardening center right now. I'd like to actually get inside and put my hands on some stuff and really kind of get tactile with it.
Well, if you want to do that, you have to come down tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow, isn't it? The grand opening day of the garden center here at Canadian Tire. I'm definitely going to come back down tomorrow and check out what we can grab for the office, because there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. It's a brand new season. And look at it all. Even from out here, we can see that everything is ready to roll.
A pack of sheep manure is only $3.19. Now, Festival on Franklin is coming up, and we will be having the dunk tank again this year. Instead of water, maybe just fill it full of manure.
As soon as we just signed up the mayor and the health minister to take part in the dunk tank.
Perfect.
I'm not sure that we necessarily went through the fine print on that one.
That's right.
We could always give that a go. I'm sure they would be thrilled to discover that there is how deep is that? It's about 7 feet of manure underneath the Festival on Franklin. I imagine Canadian Tire would also be thrilled with that proposal, because that is a lot of manure to sell.
That's absolutely right, Ollie. And I think it would just be a bit too solid. We'd probably have to pack it in there pretty tight. So they'd probably just plop into a pile of manure. I'm sure some people would really love that.
I think you could do like a half and half, can't you? And then just stir it around a little bit.
Be a real Back to the Future moment.
I think maybe not. We don't want to put Sara too much on the spot, but she, like we mentioned, she is the only employee at Cabin Radio, current intern, who has experience working at Canadian Tire and worked in a garden center. So I think maybe next break we should ask her for a good garden center story. I'm sure she's got one.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast where we cut out all the great music and you're left with the rest.
Mornings at the Cabin. Wheeler, Ollie, Lecter, and Leslie with you at the garden center at Canadian Tire. We're down here live on location for the hardest garden to garden. That's a White Stripes joke. Oh, we have fun. We are waiting with again, just in anticipation of Sara's anecdotal evidence that she worked at a Canadian Tire gardening center. Sara, would you like to tell us your garden center experience?
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, it's Sara the intern. I was a seasonal employee. I did my time, but I was also young when I worked, so I didn't want to be there. And I used to show up and I would just sit in the office outside just waiting for them to give me work to do. But when it was a rainy day, that's when it rocked, because I didn't have to do anything. There was nothing for me to do until one day, one of the guys came out. He looked at me and he was like, "All right, I need you to water the plants." I was looking, mind you, I'm in Newfoundland at the time, and I'm like, okay, it's freezing, it's raining, and he wants me to water the plants. Sure enough, I did it. I watered the plants. But, I did my time. And there was another time that I didn't know a lot about trees. I didn't know a lot about anything, but I knew that you needed 2 apple trees for them to grow. You needed 2, one to grow off another. So anyway, this guy came in and he wanted to buy some apple trees. But he only wanted to buy 1. And I was telling him, I was like, listen, you got to buy 2. And he was like, no, I only want 1. So anyway, I convinced him to buy 2 apple trees. He didn't want them because he didn't want to put 2 in the back of his truck. Anyway, he bought 2. And then later that day, I'm doing up my till and I'm looking at the receipts. Anyway, I sold him 2 cherry trees, not 2 apple trees.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay, that's
also, Jesse, bark nuggets are mulch. Like, it's just a fancy way of just explaining mulch. It's a different type.
So you did learn some things.
So yeah, you learned some things, and I learned about apple trees. Leslie, what's this apple tree chat that we're getting here? Tell us more about apple trees. You have to have two.
Depending on the variety, yes, you may need a second one to cross-pollinate things.
Oh. Cross-pollinate.
The same with like berry bushes, certain berry bushes, fruiting trees. Yeah.
The real swinging garden we got going on.
Did you know that, Sarah, or were you just going for an upsell?
I'm always trying to upsell, you know?
That's good.
Although I can feel for you because I do water in the rain as well.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's amazing how containers do not get the amount of water that they need.
Fair enough.
Well, the plants were drowned. I'll tell you that.
Amount of water, but like for me, a lot of my hanging baskets hide underneath trees. I learned the hard way. I showed up one rainy day and I'm like, this is looking dry. You know, and I'm like, oh my God, it is dry and it's raining out.
I can absolutely see how, as an intern in heavy rain, you're told to go and water the plants. You would feel like, oh, is this like where they send me to go and pick up a long weight? Okay, it's one of these. I'll go and water the plants. Thanks, boss.
Yeah. We used to send new people at the restaurant when I was working at dinner theater, send them for ice mix. And because we were in a mall parking lot, can you go to the other restaurant, get the ice mix and bring it back? And it only worked on a handful of people. Or get the hook that retrieves the limes out of the Corona bottles. These are all things that you do to new employees. So that kind of sounded like that.
Yeah.
But no, I can see that. The rain doesn't give you enough moisture.
Go check your plants if it's raining and see if they need water.
You only look mildly like a weirdo. That's all.
I do. I look like a crazy person out on the sidewalk watering plants. Like everyone's driving by and they're like, it's raining.
Yeah. What are you doing? Why are you wasting water? What's wrong with you? Sarah, that was the best story about a Canadian Tire experience I've ever heard.
Yeah. Glad I could amuse you guys.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast.
Mornings at the Cabin, Wheeler, Ollie, Lecter, Leslie, with you on your, is it Friday? It's Friday. And we are Canadian Tire in the parking lot, just checking out the gardening center. It looks like it's just opening up. So I think we're going to get out of the parking lot and get into the gardening center here pretty quick. But we'll wrap it up here, the live little bits that we got. And then we're probably going to do a little video for you guys so you can check out everything. And then you can come down here for, it's opening today, but the grand opening, I guess, is tomorrow morning. And that's when you want to get your gardening done anyway, is on Saturday and Sunday. And you can come down here and get everything you absolutely need or want, mulch-wise, manure-wise. And we've learned in this show that you can use your own manure and your own urine to fertilize your plants. So good luck with that. That'll be great.
Oh, there's sure going to be some interesting stalls at the farmers market this year now.
I grew this with my pea. Great. I'll take 4.
Yeah, maybe stick with Canadian Tire's selection. It just seems to be the slightly more convenient and socially acceptable approach.
I suppose.
So come on down. It's pretty cheap, and you don't have to check whose it was.
Yeah. These plants were grown with love and golden showers. We're just gonna check out everything. We've got trees, we've got potted plants all on the inside here. They're all hanging up, and I want to talk to some of the experts here at the garden center. We've already talked with Leslie. She's already let us know what we could start off with. Some things that would be kind of easy for people that are just trying to get in, dip their thumb into the soil, as it were. And I'm not sure if I'll do it, but Ollie seems very interested.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for it. I think this feels like a summer where I should get on and do some of this and maybe try and keep a few plants alive in the cabin radio office for the summer. I know, Leslie, that it didn't work out so well last year. Don't shake your head at me like that.
Poor Carby!
I forgot we named it.
We did.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, because what was it called? What's its name?
Streptocarpus.
Ah, yeah, Streptococcus.
No, the late Streptococcus. I think you'll find its name now.
Will you give us another one?
I was just thinking about, I thought maybe I'll give you an easier indoor houseplant, like maybe an oxalis that I have.
Sure.
An oxphallus.
Oxphallus. Very good. Again, though, now that we can, cannabis plant inside the Studio One?
Okay, well, I think there are still some rules around what you can and can't do.
No, there's not.
On business premises, it's different.
I don't think so.
Well, I think it depends what happens to the plants after. Why am I saying that? I know what's going to happen to the plants afterwards. Look at the look in your eyes.
I'm going to make it into rope.
Well,
yeah, sure. I'm going to make my own hemp
I am going to grow normal plants, none of your weird plants. Get out of here with your wacky backy.
Oh, wow. Straight out of the 50s.
And yeah, that's how I like to roll.
Yes, it is.
And yeah, I'm going to get in here and get into some of this action. I feel like this is it. This is the day that the cold weather stops. Mm-hmm. This is the day that gardening season begins. Mm-hmm. So then canoeing season begins, camping season begins, summer. I'm declaring it right now.
Thanks for listening. Check out more from the show at cabinradio.ca and by following the Mornings at the Cabin Facebook page.